You can tell when someone has crossed over into their final awakening, but not by how they speak or even how they act. You see it in their eyes, and not in the way movies or books describe it. Not glowing, not flashing, not sparkling. It's something far more subtle, far more powerful, and far more difficult to explain to anyone who hasn't felt it themselves. Something about their gaze stops you. It doesn't demand attention, but it holds it. You could be in a room full of people, but once your eyes meet theirs, it feels like time slows down. It's not intimidation. It's not beauty. It's not even intensity. It's like their eyes aren't looking at you. They're looking through you, as if they already know what's hidden behind the masks you didn't even know you were wearing. That's what happens when a chosen one enters final awakening. Their spirit becomes too vast to be held inside the body, and the first place it leaks through is the eyes, and the changes are real, measurable, maybe not by machines, but definitely by energy. And once it begins, it's permanent. These signs are not symbolic. They are spiritual indicators showing up in the most physical part of your being, your gaze. So if lately your eyes have felt strange, or if people are reacting to you differently without knowing why, stay with this video. These are the rare, hidden, and sacred signs your eyes begin showing once you've entered the last phase of your awakening. One of the strangest and most private eye changes that happens during the final awakening is a subtle perception distortion that only you notice. And it's not optical illusion, and it's not fatigue. It's when the edges of fixed objects, walls, door frames, furniture, appear to waver or ripple very slightly for just a moment, and then go back to normal. But it only happens when you're extremely still or deeply calm. This doesn't happen all the time, and it's not visual damage. What's happening is that your consciousness has begun detaching from consensus reality. Your eyes are tuned to a world that's no longer fully anchored in the three-dimensional field. And during final awakening, that connection begins to fluctuate, not permanently, but just enough for your perception to slip and return in microseconds. This causes brief visual distortions that don't scare you. They just confuse you at first. You blink and check again, and everything's normal. But you felt something shift. You know it happened. These moments usually occur when your thoughts are silent and your emotions are neutral, like when meditating, waking up, or sitting quietly in nature. And the reason it happens is because your energetic vision is being activated. The physical eyes are still functioning as normal, but your spiritual lens begins to bleed into your sight. That's what causes the momentary shimmer, not in your eye, but in your awareness. You're not losing touch with reality. You're simply starting to see how fragile the illusion of it is. And that's something only those undergoing final awakening will ever experience, even if it's just for a second. This change doesn't come from the mind, it comes from the body. After final awakening begins, something shifts in how your energy interacts with others. Specifically, your eyes develop an intuitive rejection mechanism toward dishonesty. And the moment you lock eyes with someone who's wearing a mask, hiding truth, or subtly manipulating the environment, your own eyes won't let you hold the gaze for long. Not because of fear, not because of shyness, but because it feels physically wrong, like nausea behind the eyes, a tension in the temple, a deep knowing that something isn't clean. And here's the strange part, this wasn't always the case. Before final awakening, you could manage these interactions. You could hold eye contact, even if it didn't feel great. But now, you physically can't. Your gaze either softens and avoids, or it sharpens and locks, but never both. Your eyes are no longer used as a tool of politeness. They are now boundaries made visible. And the people on the receiving end notice. Some of them might avoid your eyes entirely. Others may feel exposed or react defensively, even if you said nothing at all. That's because your awakened gaze no longer allows illusions to stand between you and another person. It either meets truth or it burns through lies. This eye symptom is less about vision and more about energetic filtration. Your eyes begin acting as a mirror and a firewall, reflecting what is real and rejecting what isn't. You're not trying to do this. You can't not do it. And once it begins, it never stops. Your gaze becomes a force of spiritual detection, and not everyone will know how to look back at it. This is one of the most quietly intense transformations, and it catches many chosen ones off guard. As the final awakening matures, your central vision becomes calmer and steadier, but your peripheral vision becomes more alive than ever, especially during moments of emotional transition. Let's say you're walking down a hallway or sitting in a public space, and someone walks behind or beside you. Even if they make no noise, your side vision picks up on it instantly, not just as motion, but as an energetic signal. You feel it more than see it. And sometimes it triggers a mild jolt, a micro flinch in your nervous system. Not fear, just extreme alertness. This isn't anxiety, it's sensory expansion. When final awakening activates your spiritual field, your senses become wired to subtle vibrations in the environment. Your peripheral vision becomes an emotional radar, not just a visual tool. You might also notice this symptom during personal reflection. When you're thinking about a person or memory that carries heavy emotion, shadows and flickers may subtly appear in your side vision, not as hallucinations, but as emotional projections registering in your awareness field. It's important to understand, your eyes haven't become broken. They've become responsive to the vibrational currents around you. This new responsiveness doesn't require conscious attention. It happens naturally, but it increases your spatial awareness to a degree that can feel intense or overwhelming at first. To others, it may seem like you're always aware of everything happening around you, even when you're focused forward. And the truth is, you are. Because once the final awakening begins, your eyes stop just seeing the world. They start feeling it. One of the most eerie yet overlooked signs during final awakening is a subtle shift in how often you blink, especially when you're sitting in silence, contemplating or speaking from deep truth. You may not realize it at first, but your blink rate starts to slow down dramatically. It's not forced, it's not intentional, it just happens. Normally, blinking is regulated by unconscious rhythms, emotion, light, social interaction. But as your awakening deepens, your state of consciousness rewires these rhythms. Your body no longer runs on fear or nervous system reflexes. Your eyes no longer need to scan, reset, or shield themselves constantly. So they just stay open, still, unmoving. During moments of presence, you might find yourself blinking less than once every 10 seconds. Your eyes become locked in, not from strain, but from complete internal quiet. And the world begins to feel more frozen in time. People sitting across from you may even feel uncomfortable under your gaze, without knowing why, as if you're not reacting the way they're used to, and it disorients them. What's really happening is that your visual system is now synchronized with your soul's presence. The blink reflex, which once operated on survival and speed, now obeys stillness and depth. It only activates when necessary, not automatically. This changes the entire feel of your gaze. It's not intense, it's not passive, it's just penetrating. If you've noticed this strange stillness in your eyes lately, especially during silence or deep conversations, it's not random. It's a sign that your eyes are no longer mirroring a world of urgency. They've become a gateway into timeless presence. Something shifts in your visual awareness after final awakening, that can't be explained logically. You'll be walking or sitting in a natural setting, and suddenly your eyes will lock onto something. A tree branch, the movement of clouds, the shape of a stone, and for a moment, you can't look away. Not because it's beautiful, but because something deeper is pulling your attention. This isn't aesthetic appreciation. It's energetic magnetism. Your spirit has started communicating through pattern recognition, and your eyes are the medium. Without thinking, your gaze settles on these patterns because your nervous system is now tuned to receive subtle codes from the environment. What you're really experiencing is a visual form of energetic resonance. Your soul recognizes familiar vibrations in the natural world, echoes of truth, peace, or past memory. And when it does, it pulls your gaze toward them. These moments feel trance-like, but not unconscious. They're vivid, charged. Your eyes soften, your breath slows, and time seems to stretch. Some describe this as nature speaking back to them, not in words, but in alignment. The gaze becomes a way of listening, and it's not something you can replicate at will. It only happens when the moment is real. Over time, you may notice specific shapes or textures, ripples on water, the veins of a leaf, the spiral of a shell, repeatedly grabbing your attention. These aren't random fascinations. They are visual anchors for your awakened field. Your eyes are no longer chasing distraction. They're being led to remember. This subtle transformation is part of your return to spiritual precision. You're not just seeing, you're recognizing sacred geometry in plain sight. And once your eyes begin this process, they never go back. There is a specific kind of stillness, not of the body, but behind the eyes, that only chosen ones in final awakening begin to experience. It doesn't last long, it doesn't happen often, but when it does, it's unforgettable. It usually comes a few seconds before an intuitive breakthrough. You'll be in the middle of thinking, or even speaking, when suddenly, your eyes pause. It's not just outer stillness, it's an inner locking, like something is focusing your gaze from behind your own consciousness. And then it happens, an insight drops in, a realization you weren't expecting, a piece of truth that didn't come from your intellect. What you just experienced is an energetic download, and the stillness behind your eyes was your body preparing to receive it. This phenomenon is part of your awakened bio-spiritual system. During final awakening, your mind no longer drives your perception, your field does. So the eyes, which are deeply tied to your mental state, begin to reflect that handoff of control. You'll feel a brief pause inside your vision field, as if something is rewiring behind your forehead. You're not going blind, you're going clear. And here's the real confirmation. This stillness is always followed by either a deep truth, a strong emotion, or a shift in clarity. It doesn't leave you confused, it leaves you aligned. Your eyes become receivers, not just observers, and the stillness behind them. It's the soul taking over the lens. Once you enter final awakening, your energetic field stretches far beyond your physical body, and your eyes become your radar. One of the strangest but most consistent experiences is the ability to feel when someone is looking at you, even if they're behind you, even through windows, even from another room. This isn't superstition. This is your vision becoming bidirectional. Before, your eyes were for looking out, but after this shift, your eyes also start registering incoming energy. You might be at a cafe and suddenly feel pressure in the side of your face, not painful, but dense. You turn your head and lock eyes with someone who was silently staring. You didn't hear them, you didn't see them, but your energetic sight picked up their intention. It goes even deeper. Some chosen ones report feeling a subtle pull through glass or even security cameras, not in a paranoid way, just a soft, traceable tension, as if awareness is flowing toward you and your eyes become sensitive to it. Why does this happen? Because your visual field is no longer limited to photons and focus. It's now tuned to awareness itself. And when awareness from another being meets your field, you feel it. Your eyes become living mirrors, and any gaze directed at you bounces back with a signal your body can now detect. It's not fear. It's not vanity. It's truth. You feel watched because you are. But now you can tell who's watching and why. This is the eye's final evolution. They're no longer just tools of sight. They've become instruments of energetic navigation. And they'll never let you be unaware again. You don't need to convince anyone that your awakening is real. You don't need to prove your growth, explain your clarity, or argue your truth. All you need to do is look. Because when a chosen one enters final awakening, the transformation that happens behind the eyes cannot be faked. It's not about eye color. It's not about mystical glow. It's not about how others see you. It's about how you now see the world, and how the world feels you're seeing in return. Your eyes have stopped looking for safety. They've stopped seeking validation. They've stopped chasing illusion. They now hold presence. They now recognize lies. They now scan for energy instead of image. And they now carry the full weight of a spirit that has come home to its own power. If these signs resonated with you, if you've been noticing your vision change in ways you can't explain, then you're not alone. You're not imagining things. You're not off. You're ahead. You're evolving. You're remembering who you were before your body was trained to forget. And that remembering is now visible in your gaze. So don't look away. Let them see it. Let them feel it. Let the eyes of the awakened remind this world that truth can still be seen without speaking a single word. Subscribe now if this stirred something deep in you, because what's coming next will open your eyes even more.